Should you focus your attention on the verse or the chorus, and what's more important for your song? Well, we're going to take a deep dive into this. We're going to explore verse versus the chorus as a songwriter, what one you should focus your attention on, when you should focus your attention on them, and how to improve both your verses and your choruses. Now, my name's Danny Boyle. I'm the founder of Songwriters International. If you haven't already, please consider dropping us a subscribe. I've also got a completely free training on my two-step process to songwriting and how I pitch my songs to global artists below in the description if you want to go and register for that as well. Now, let's jump into this and let's look at the verse and the chorus themselves. They are two really important components of a songwriting process. Now, if you are writing folk music, then you're only ever going to focus on the verse. But if you're writing any other genre, then you're going to be focusing your attention on both the verse and the chorus. But let's just dive into them. Now, depending on your song and what you're actually trying to deliver and the genre that you're writing will determine on what is maybe that little bit more important to your song, whether that's a verse or whether that's a chorus. For example, if you're writing a country song, then you are really going to be focusing in on the verse because of the story, which I'm going to explore with you a little bit further in a moment. But if you're writing, let's say, a dance song, which is very hook driven, then you're going to be focusing your attention on the chorus. Now, what I'm going to do, we're going to jump over to my screen and I'm going to break down this stuff for you. So I've put together some examples here for how we separate the verse versus the chorus as a songwriter so that we can clearly differentiate the two and make it easier for the listeners to understand what is the hook and what is the story. So let's first of all actually jump into the verse. That's where you're going to find yourself starting in most cases. For most structures, you're going to start with a verse and then lead into a chorus. Now, the verse itself is where we are going to explore the lyric further, and we're going to build out that imagery for the listener. We keep it melodically simple. Okay, we use what we call a static melody most of the time, which I'll be giving you an example of very shortly, and we have very little variation in that melody. What we are focusing on is the delivery of the story through the lyrics. So we don't want to take that shine away with a melody that's moving all over the place. We keep the melody simple and we focus on the delivery of the story through the lyrics. And in the verse, you'll find 9 times out of 10, the lyrics should be more descriptive. It should be more detailed. It should build more imagery and set the story up for the chorus later on. So what I've done here, I've given you some example lyrics for a verse. And what I call this is going beneath the surface. Okay, so we go beneath the surface for the lyric. And here's some simple examples. Here's what I would call a surface level lyric. Okay, a surface level lyric is a lyric that's just said very simply, like, let me hold your hand, or let me love you, or let me be the one to love you. Very simple. But this example here, let me hold your hand, is a surface level lyric. We go now beneath the surface. I want to expand that. I want to add more imagery. I want to be more detailed and descriptive. So what I've done now is place your fingertips into mine. And it's that place your fingertips. It really builds the imagery very simply. So there's the difference between a surface level lyric and a beneath the surface level lyric. Let's do another example here. We've got the sky is grey. Okay, very, very simple. Let's say you had a lyric in your song which was the sky is grey. Now we're going to do a beneath the surface level lyric, which is the concrete sky staring down at me. The concrete sky staring down at me. You can see straight away how much more imagery that provokes for us as the listener, as the individual that is reading this lyric. Straight away, it gets you straight into the song and hopefully entices a listener to want to listen for that little bit more. Now, there's some very simple examples for you. And what you'll find as well with the verse is that sometimes you will have simple lyrics, but there will be a balance between a surface level lyric and a beneath the surface level lyric. Let's say you have 5 lines in a verse, for example, maybe 2 or 3 are beneath the surface, okay, and have that detail. And maybe 2 or 3 of those lines are also surface level lyrics, okay? So you've got to find that balance as the songwriter, and you've got to find the balance between saying it in a simple way, but also sometimes adding a little bit more imagery, a little bit more complexity to get the listener thinking that little bit more. But let's go into the chorus, because we are comparing the verse versus the chorus here. So example lyrics for a chorus. Now, a chorus itself is far more likely to use more of those surface level lyrics, as the focus is on the melody and the hook and not so much the lyric. So you can see straight away the difference between a verse and a chorus is that a verse is where the story is set, that's where the imagery is built, that's where we don't really focus too much on melody. But the chorus on the other side is more focused towards the hook and the melody, more so than it is the lyric. Now, additionally for you, if your lyric in the verse has been very detailed, it's very descriptive, and it's really built out that imagery, and you've had examples like this, the concrete sky is staring down at me, or place your fingertips into mine, and you're really building that imagery out for you, then continuing that theme, continuing that complexity in the lyric, sometimes can overwhelm or confuse your listeners if it's a running theme throughout. So what we do in the chorus is we just pull back a little bit and go a little bit more simplistic, go a little bit more clear with the story. So here's some examples. For a chorus, you might say, I need you more than I've ever needed anybody else. Okay, I need you more than I've ever needed anybody else. Or what about this one? Let's take our passports and see the world together. Very, very simple. In the above examples here, they are very basic and they deliver the main message of the chorus in the simplest way. This adds no confusion. If I was to say to you, what does it mean? Well, it's very clear. I need you more than I needed anybody else. Or let's take our passports and see the world together. It's so simple, and it leaves the listener knowing exactly now what the point of this chorus is all about. And it's very simple, and like I say, the chorus is very, very clear. Now, my simple formula for verse and choruses, or verse versus chorus, shall we say. The verse is where we would have a beneath the surface level lyric, more descriptive, more detailed, and in the chorus is where we're going to focus on more surface level lyrics that clearly tell the listener what the message is without leaving them in any way confused. And that's how we separate and distinguish the verse and the chorus. That helps the listener, tells more story, and that's the way that we're able then to write great captivating songs that have great stories but also then follow simplicity at times within that song as well. So now you know when to go beneath the surface with your lyric and when to keep it surface level. Typically your choruses are those surface level lyrics and your verses are your more beneath the surface detailed lyrics, as we've just gone through. Now, I also spoke about in a moment ago about a static melody. Static melodies are perfect for when we are trying to deliver that story. We're trying to deliver that imagery, that description in the song. Let me give you an example of what a static melody is. It's something like this. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Oh. Da, 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 da. It's a melody that's not moving very much. It's focused on giving the story. Where if we had a verse melody which was moving all over the place and we were really trying to tell a story, it's going to be off-putting for the listener. Something like this, let's say. It's moving all over the place, and it's going to be hard for that description, that detail, that imagery to really hit home for the listener. And that's why we keep melodies for the verses 9 times out of 10 pretty static. We don't want to move them very much because we want to focus on telling the story. Now let's use that example that I used a moment ago, which was the concrete sky is looking down on me, or staring down on me is what I think I said. If we use that and I was writing this song, let's suppose, I would keep that melody static and really want to emphasize that lyric. So, the concrete sky is staring down on me. The flood of rain is pouring down. Or something like that, right? We can start to build the imagery. What about this? The concrete sky is staring down on me. The flood above me, which is referring to the rain. Because if the sky above us is cloudy, it's typically going to rain, okay? The flood above me is going to pour, or something like that, and we can really focus in on the story. The flood above, the flood above, the flood above me me is gonna pour any second. Right? And we can start to really build out that story from there. Very simple, and sometimes it takes a few moments just to make sure you fit the right melody alongside the right lyric. But where we go to the chorus, we have more movement melodically because we're singing 9 times out of 10 a more simplified lyric. As I was given examples before, things like I want to hold your hand, or I've never wanted anybody but you, right? So let's suppose that for a chorus, I've never wanted anybody but you. We can sing that with a melody that is not static and is moving far more. 'Cause I've never wanted anybody but you. So give me your arm, so give me your hand, baby. Place it in mine. I never wanted anybody but you. So place your hand in mine and make it dun 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 dun. Right? So we are going simple with the lyric, but then we're going a little bit more complex. We're having more movement melodically in that chorus. So there we have it. That is verse versus a chorus as a songwriter, and how we differentiate those two things to write better songs that captivate our listeners, tell stories, and create great hooks. Now, like I mentioned before, if you haven't already, please drop us a subscribe, and there's a completely free training in the description below where I walk you through my 2-step process to songwriting and then how I pitch those songs to global artists. So you can go ahead and register for that, and I will see you over on another video.